in our number 10 spot, we have the intruder video. This video was taken from a surveillance camera that was placed inside of a couple's home. I wouldn't have said that having a surveillance camera inside your home is exceptionally common, but man, am I glad these people had one because of what it caught while they were sleeping. When the couple woke up one day, they were unable to find a purse that they knew was in the home before they went to sleep. They decided to check their security cameras, and this is what they found. As it turns out, the couple had fallen asleep on the couch as they were watching TV, and while they were sleeping, a man crept in and was so quiet that he didn't wake them or their dogs up. He stood at the top of the stairs watching them sleep for a few minutes, which really adds a layer of uncomfortability to this already spooky video.
Coming in at number 9, we have the Paris catacombs footage. If someone invites you to come down into some catacombs for exploring, just say no. That's not a fun place to be, especially when you're in Paris. Why would you spend your time walking around with a bunch of old bones when you could be eating croissants until you need a forklift to sit upright? Well, in Paris, someone thought it would be a good idea to take a break from gorging on baguettes to look at some rotting bones. This is some of the most terrifying found footage I have ever seen. You have a POV shot of someone walking through this tunnel system. For the most part, everything seems normal, but then they start to panic. I don't know if it's the strange markings all over the walls that starts to freak him out, or maybe he got lost, or maybe he heard something, but it doesn't matter because he just starts running. As he's running, you can tell that he has no idea where he's going, and eventually he drops his camera and makes off into the darkness. Let's take a look at this man's panic.
Are pictures of bones.
The video shows the man exploring, but he soon begins to panic. He runs through the maze of tunnels and his breathing gets heavy. As he is running, you can hear and tell the man is freaking out.
Now, we have no idea why this guy started to panic or what happened to him after. The catacombs are like a maze that go on for miles in every direction, so there's a good chance that he got lost down there and was never seen again, or that whatever he was running away from caught up with him. Coming in at number 8, we have doorbell cam. There is nothing better than looking through some videos from your doorbell only to find a creeper walking close to your house. What could be worse than that? Well, what about a dude caught in the act of creeping around your house? I'm about to show you a man who was caught wandering around someone's home, and then they came right up to their door and did this.
He proceeds to knock and ring the doorbell.
The owner of this home woke up to a notification coming from their phone that someone was at their door. You know, sometimes I think it's weird that our lives are becoming so automated, but when you see something like this, you would be happy to have a camera on the front of your door. This person kept trying to work their way into the home in one of the strangest attempts I have ever seen. He rings the doorbell and then tries to break in afterwards. The man is probably deranged and had no idea what was going on. Coming in at number 7, we have the mysterious noise. Now, even when found footage doesn't have something that is explicitly creepy about it, like a dude with a bag on his head chasing you down the street, there can be something strange and creepy to it that just leaves a weird feeling in your stomach. That's how people feel about the Paraguayan camcorder footage. It would seem to be some sort of strange home video that has several different scenes spliced together. It follows a group of teens and all the footage is extremely grainy, which makes sense because the footage is apparently from the 90s. But then there comes this noise. You can hear that strange humming in the background. Now, while this is probably some static that was picked up because the recording is on a very old device, some other people think that this could be a curse of sorts. That if you listen to the full tape, it will bring a dark energy into your life as if you were watching the tape from The Ring. Coming in number 6, we have the South Korean ferry incident. Back in 2014, a ferry in South Korea would take on way too many cars and passengers. Now, even though the vessel should have been able to handle this many people on board, the waves were rough that day and the ship ended up tipping on its side. This is some of the footage from inside the ship.
수연아, 마지막 진짜 팔기 보소. 나도. 우리 이렇게 바다로 헤엄쳐서 이렇게 될 거야. 수연아, 자, 왜 네가 들고 있어? 나 이제 토할 것 같거든.
This entire video is about 20 minutes long, and throughout most of it, no one really seems to think that they're in any danger. They are convinced that the people around them will all be saved when their rescue comes. Unfortunately, they were wrong, and many people that day were not saved. Coming in at number 5, we have the skeleton at the door. Having a doorbell camera might bring in more stress into your life than you would think. Let me show you this footage, and then you can see how stressful it would be to see something like this happen at the front of your house.
With a piece of tape. The homeowner got an alert that motion was detected on the porch, and upon checking the footage was ready to grab his gun. It's not known what was done while the tape was covering the camera.
You see a creepy skeleton come out of the darkness and then cover up the camera to your door. Now apparently this didn't lead to anything. It was probably just some kids goofing around, but some kids goofing around can make you feel like your home is about to get broken into by the undead. Coming in at number 4, we have a towering flame. This is one of the most famous cases of found footage in the 90s. When you hear the start of this, you will literally think it's a plot for a B movie, but this is really what happened. It was in California, and on the side of the road there were some old cassettes that were found. On these tapes was a recording of a massive blaze. It was a house that had been set on fire. Here is some of the footage from that tape.
Asexual turn-ons.
That is just a taste of the whole thing. The rest of the footage goes on for about 4 minutes. You can hear people laughing, and you can only assume that those were the people who lit the fire. For a while, this was just a tall tale and some creepy footage, but eventually the tape made it onto Unsolved Mysteries, and through this, the people were able to track down the culprits. It turned out to be 2 teenagers who were both arrested and tried for their crimes. Coming in at number 3, we have an oncoming train. This footage is some of the most infuriating and depressing footage on this list. It comes from a movie shoot in 2014 when a crew was filming a movie about Greg Allman. They were on a train bridge and they thought that they had all day to shoot, but there was something that the director didn't tell them. The director had contacted the city to get permission to shoot on the bridge, but they were denied the right to shoot twice. Then the crew had to rush off the bridge while the train was barreling towards them. Unfortunately, not everyone was able to make it out of the way of the train safely. When everything was said and done, the production company was sued and had to pay out over $3 million, and the director was thrown in prison for manslaughter. Coming in at number 2, we have No Through Road. There have been a lot of theories about No Through Road. On the footage, there are 4 English teens driving around late at night until they get lost. Eventually, they get to a dead end and try to work their way back, and their car stalls. Then they are confronted by this.
Jay, just give me the... What are you doing? Turn it back on.
It's not me. I can't.
Turn the bloody lights on.
Now that seems pretty terrifying. What on earth do you think that thing is? It looks like it could have just been a regular man, but the rest of the footage is too gruesome for me to show you here. It cuts some of the previous footage on the camera in between these young men being attacked by this strange figure. Now, when you watch it, I would guess that this is a very well put together project from a few teens who wanted to make a short horror movie. But when you dig deeper into the story, the rumors say that the car was found with blood all over it, and there was only the tape left in the car. And coming in the number 1 spot, we have the Stephen McDaniels footage. This is by far some of the most chilling footage that you could ever see. Stephen McDaniels was a very troubled person. He was classmates with Lauren Giddings, and even though the two barely interacted, he had an obsession with her. Without her knowing, he would creep outside her window and film her. Here's some of that footage. Just seeing that makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. This entire time, Lauren had no idea that there was someone outside her apartment, and it was the last day of school when Stephen would break into her apartment. The police were later notified and found the footage I just showed you on Stephen's computer. Stephen is currently in prison, and there's a good chance he will never be released.
Starting our list off at number 10, The Red Door. Okay, if you're a fan of Haunting of Hill House, this first one here should tickle your fancy. Here we go. I'm terrified already. This is some hospital footage because, you know, why not? This video starts off with a flickering light, but as the person filming walks down the hallway, the door at the end begins to open and close repeatedly. Like this. Check it out. Now, once they reach said red door that was opening and, slamming shut, they realize nothing is there and it doesn't really go anywhere. The door just leads to pipes, like water supply pipes in case of emergencies, you know what I mean? So they're inspecting it to see what have caused the opening and closing when they began to hear banging coming from another door further down the hallway. And then, of course, like a Looney Tunes, they go and check out that one as well. When they check it out, they find nothing and nobody. Honestly, you guys, when I saw the door at the end, when it didn't lead anywhere, I was upset. I was like, oh, someone's faking it. Maybe someone's there, doing something on the other side. Nope, just terrifying. There we go.
In our number 9 spot today, we have the blonde from the store. Before I dive into this one, guys, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying the video so far, because it really helps us out. This footage is said to have been taken by a man who met a blonde girl at the grocery store and decided to follow her home, which just please don't do that because that's weird. Footage starts off showing the outside of the blonde girl's house. Definitely not a good start. The man is on the front porch of the house and he ends up actually entering the house. That shot where you see him in the mirror absolutely terrifies me, you guys. He continues walking around the house and then there is a knock at the door. The blonde woman goes and opens the door and sees a fire outside. At this point, our creepy cameraman is back outside and he watches and films her as she stands on the porch and calls someone on the phone for help. This is when our cameraman decides it is time to strike. I really hope that this video was staged and just like a prank or a joke because it absolutely freaked me out. In our number 8 spot today, we have Creep. This found footage is actually a movie and it is one of the most terrifying and disturbing movies I have ever seen. I watched it for the first time around 6 years ago and I still cannot get it out of my head. This movie was directed by Patrick Bryce and it is a psychological thriller that follows a man who, after finding out he has an inoperable brain tumor, decides to hire a filmmaker so that he can leave a video diary for his unborn son, so that when the son grows up, he'll be able to at least know a bit about his dad. Between the man who wants to make the video and the filmmaker, these are two extremely disturbed people and things really just go down from there. I don't want to ruin the movie for you in case you decide to check it out, but I just want to give you a small taste of what you're in for.
Everything's okay. Not a care in the world. It's all over.
In our number 7 spot today, we have The Man. This video starts off with some guys pulling a pretty mean and super gross trick on an older man. They are leaving bags of poop lit on fire at this man's doorstep, which is the oldest trick in the book, but one that no one should ever do, ever, because it's just nasty and also maybe dangerous. Unfortunately, these guys didn't get the memo and leave not just one, but a few bags at this man's doorstep.
Come on. Merry Christmas. Come on.
Of course, these guys think they're hilarious, and of course, this man is extremely upset, as I would be. But the man goes back inside his house, but these guys decide to try and trick again. But what happens next is what none of them were expecting.
Oh my god. What are we gonna... Get out.
Of course, these guys just watched their friend basically get kidnapped, so instead of calling anyone, they go to investigate. They peer into the man's windows and head around towards the backyard before the man jumps out, and the video ends when it appears that he strikes the men with a shovel. This is another one where I'm not sure if this is real or not, but I hope it isn't. In our number 6 spot today, we have this doorbell footage. This next footage comes from a doorbell camera and shows the terrifying moment a stranger begins trying to break into a woman's home. She starts off by backing up and throwing her body into the window until it breaks.
You can see the intruder backing up and throwing the full force of her body into the window. It breaks. Then she pulls out the screen and reaches in. The homeowner screams.
The stranger wasn't in any immediate danger, but it does appear as though she may have been a little bit confused about her whereabouts, which is kind of sad. The woman whose home it is rightfully pretty freaked out and actually was a registered gun owner, so things really could have taken a wrong turn in this footage. Eventually, a police officer shows up and speaks to the woman, who claims that her friend is in the house. Obviously, this isn't the case, but this is why I believe that she may have been confused as to where she was. In the end, I am glad that everyone left this situation safely, but I am sure that everyone was a bit shaken up. In our number 5 spot today, we have the bear attack. This is footage that I will not be able to show you guys in this video, and I'm honestly not even sure if you'd want to watch it if I could. This footage comes from the camera of Timothy Treadwell, who is known as Grizzly Man due to his love of bears. The footage comes from a late summer day in 2003 when Timothy and his girlfriend Amy went out to study bears as hibernation season was just around the corner. The pair didn't return when they were supposed to, so an investigation and search party was launched to find them. Eventually, what was left of the pair, along with their camera, were found by authorities. As it turns out, they had been attacked and almost entirely eaten by a bear on this day, and their camera was running and recording during the terrible attack. Luckily, there was only audio because I can't imagine anyone having to sit through a full video of such a gruesome attack, but the audio is just as haunting as you would assume it is. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Bradford City Stadium fire. On Saturday, May 11th, 1985, there was an English League 3rd Division match between Bradford City and Lincoln City, which took place at the Bradford City Stadium. Just minutes before the halftime mark of the game, a small fire was spotted in the stands. A man had lit a cigarette in the stands, and when he went to step on it to put it out, it fell through the stands. This small cigarette started a small fire that ended up engulfing the entire stadium in basically no time at all. The stadium was not built to resist the flames. In fact, a lot of the material used were highly flammable, which definitely made matters worse. It was an absolutely devastating day, and there is a video of the entire thing, but I'm just going to show you a clip from just the beginning where you can see the small fire starting.
And we've actually got a fire in the stand on the far side of the ground. And that looks very nasty indeed. Now the police have gone over there to try and quell the fire, and they're frantically getting some of the supporters out. Now these are extraordinary scenes at Valley Parade. It's supposed to be a day of celebration. One hopes the stand doesn't burn down.
This was just the beginning of what turned into a huge and deadly fire. In our number 3 spot today, we have this clown sighting. This footage comes again from another home surveillance camera, and I feel like these things always catch the creepiest happenings. This time when the homeowner went to check their footage, they were greeted by an extremely creepy clown. I'm not sure if you remember a few years ago when it became a trend to dress up as a killer clown to scare the heck out of people, but I'm hoping that that's where this video comes from, because that is the only explanation I want for this footage.
It's a scene straight from a horror movie, but it's right here in Jacksonville. A Springfield resident's surveillance camera caught this creepy clown on his porch. He grabs a pumpkin and then tears it apart. The clown stares awkwardly at the camera before disappearing into the darkness.
I like that the reporter commented that the clown looked awkwardly at the camera before leaving, because I think that the appropriate word is that the clown looked terrifyingly at the camera before he left. I could not imagine checking my footage and seeing this clown on my front porch. I feel like I would never sleep again. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Blockbuster Ghost. For those of you who don't know, before the age of streaming, we had to go to a store in order to rent videos so that we could watch the newest movies once they were on VHS. Blockbuster was a magical place, but this video shows another side to our beloved video store. This surveillance camera footage shows an employee, after closing, restocking some of the shelves in the store. Nothing too mysterious. That is, until when he finishes stocking one shelf, he moves to the next, but one video on the shelf he just worked on immediately falls off. Okay, maybe he just put the video on the shelf weird and it fell off. No big deal. He goes back, puts the video on the shelf again, but when he walks away, it flies off the shelf again. I feel like at this point I would have already dipped out of there, but this guy goes back again and picks the video up. He walks away again, and this time a video on the other shelf falls down right in front of him, and as he reaches to pick it up, another video falls off, and then a third one falls. He understandably runs off after the third video falls, and I truly cannot blame him. In our number 1 spot today, we have Salem Road. This video shows a couple guys driving in a truck down a road in what looks like a very rural area. They're just guys being dudes hanging out until they come across a woman dressed in white walking down the middle of the road.
What the? That's a person. That is a girl. What the? It's, wow. Dude, who is that? It's 31 degrees outside.
They're obviously really confused by what she is doing just walking down the middle of the road, and she seems to be unbothered by the men driving up behind her. They stop the truck and one of them gets out to go and check on her.
What the is he doing? Get the out! Go! Get the out! Go! What? Go!
The guy continues freaking out, telling them that they need to get out of there, and the other guys don't believe him until they realize that seemingly out of nowhere, this lady is now right in front of their truck. The video ends with this clip. I'm not sure who or what this lady is or what happened to these men, but it just does not look good.
Coming number 10, we have the Croatian tape. The thing about found footage is it can easily be staged. There's no way of telling if what you're looking at is made by someone with the intention of freaking you out, or if it was actually the last moments of someone's life caught in a disturbing video. Well, that is what we have on our first point. The Croatian tape is said to be recorded in 2005, and no one has any idea of when it worked its way onto the internet. In the tape, there are two young boys who are just walking about late at night, and then they're approached by some strange man. There's a couple things that seem off about this dude. For one, he's stumbling around like he's drunk or disoriented, and two, he has some sort of canvas bag on his head like he's Jason from the first Friday the 13th movie. First, this guy seems harmless. It seems like maybe he's lost, but then he starts to get aggressive and chase after the boys. They outrun him and make it back to their apartment building, and right when they think that they're safe, they see this in the elevator. Now, this could have all been staged. I mean, how on earth did this baghead guy make it back to the elevator? But they might have been messing around with something supernatural that tracked them down.
Number 9, historic home tape. No, not one of those home tapes, you freaks. That's another video. This footage comes from a camera that was found at a historic home by a company that works specifically with historic homes. So specific. The footage found shows a few people just exploring around this abandoned home, checking out whatever's going on in creepy houses, you know, whatever we do on weekends. Apparently people like to explore abandoned stuff, because why not? We don't get to see what it is, but something very obvious freaks them out, and they're not having it. They're scared while they're filming, and then something else weird happens. Check it out.
Hello?
Now this is where the footage from one camera ends and then another camera's footage begins. There we go. It's like, here's a sequel for you. The audio is pretty distorted at parts, which kind of makes it scarier, but check out the other part as well.
No, I'm not going back.
I'm not exactly sure what happened or who these people are, but something's going on in here. You know what? I'm tapping out. Let's move on. Number 8, Barton Mansion Ghost. This video is from 2001. Somebody explored through the Barton Mansion in California because, like I said earlier, some people like doing that for some reason. This mansion is said to be the home of tons of sinister happenings, satanic rituals, paranormal activity. It's even said that a demon haunts the top floor. It's kind of cool though, demon haunting the top floor. He's like, I shot to the top bunk, and then just floats around. It's said that the night before this video was taken, a group had broken into the abandoned basement, and there they found a creepy configuration of stones surrounding a piece of meat. They came back the next day to take some more video footage of the place, and the part of the video that I wanted to show you is basically a first-person view as somebody explores through said mansion. And it's when they spot something that none of us wanted to see, and that's when all hell breaks loose. Here we go. What exactly did he see there? I have no idea. If you have any ideas, put in the comments down below because I won't be able to sleep. Great. Number 7, clown sightings. This footage comes again from another home surveillance camera, and I feel like these things always catch the creepiest happenings. I just did a doorbell camera video where the dude's licking the guy's doorbell. That's the worst thing I've seen in ages. This time, when the homeowner went to check their footage, they were greeted by an extremely creepy clown. Yeah, I'm not sure if you remember years back when there was like a clown craze. Everyone just wanted to be clowns for some reason and hang out next to the highway. That was weird. I'm hoping that's where this video comes from, but again, there's no explanation, so we just gotta dive in and wonder.
Grabs a pumpkin and then tears it apart. The clown stares awkwardly at the camera before disappearing into the darkness.
I like that the reporter commented that the clown looked awkward at the camera before leaving. Yeah, awkward. That's for sure the word I would use for this encounter. Awkward. Not terrifying. Number 6, Blockbuster Ghost. Oh, a classic. For those of you who don't know, before the age of streaming and, LimeWire, Netflix, all that amazing technology, we had to go to a store with our legs and our families. We had to put on our winter coats to go rent a movie. And sometimes we got there and there was only widescreens left of said movie. That was always the worst. You're like, I guess. I would go in and hide a video sometimes, and then come back with my family, we'd find it, and then rent it. Now, as many good memories that rest there in Blockbuster, there's also some haunting ones. This surveillance camera footage shows an employee, after closing, restocking some of the shelves in the store, and then they notice something flying off one shelf while they're stocking it. And when he finishes stocking one shelf, he moves on to the next, but one video on the shelf he just worked on immediately falls off. Okay, maybe he put the video on the shelf in a, awkward angle. It wasn't a tight 45, maybe it was one of those and it kind of slipped down. It happens. But when he walks away, it flies off the shelf again. Now at this point, I would have already dipped, I would have signed out, maybe even quit my job, who knows. But he goes back, picks the video up, and he walks away again, but this time a video on the other shelf falls down right in front of him, and then as he reaches to pick that video up, another video falls, and then a third one falls. And then he understandably runs off after that. That's just, yeah, to be honest, at that point, I would leave. I would leave after the first video fell, if I'm being honest. Number 5, witch caught on tape. I am terrified of witches. I don't like this one. Okay. This video comes from Mexico and it's said to be a sighting of a witch flying through the air. I love this video. I saw this long before I started working here and it's been rent-free, just sitting right in there. I don't like how slow she's going too. Like, she's not in any rush. The people who recorded the video said they could see the figure wearing a cape, which is why of course we all assume that it's a witch. And also, she's flying through the air, so there's that too. Just to add another layer of to this already kind of weird video, police officers from the area also explained that they had seen some sort of witch-like creature before this footage was even captured. They said they saw some sort of creature dressed in all black with huge claws, and it had their head hanging down low. Like, imagine a police officer, I'd be like, what, go get that thing then. What are you talking about? Is that a gargoyle? I've seen Lord of the Rings. Can we close the city? That's terrifying. That's a Demigorgon. Number 4, creeper in the back. Not creeper in the front. That's a different video. This is creeper in the back. Here we go. With so much of the world working from home and needing to do Zoom calls all the time, and now we're just comfortable and no one wants to go back to the office, so we're just gonna keep doing it forever, I guess. After you see this clip, you're gonna be looking over your shoulder every time you're in a meeting in the future. Yeah, you don't want anything like that creeping around your house at any point. When you're looking or not looking, honestly. The sad part is that guy looked like he was having a good time. Maybe he got a promotion on this Zoom call, whatever was going on. He was loving it until, the scary demon apparatus cloud monster thing appeared, of course. Then it kind of went downhill. Now I don't know what the aftermath is of this video, so if you want peace or sleep tonight, I can't help you. I'm not the guy for you. I just report the videos and go, that's scary. Next. Number 3, the clip. This is a video that's titled Clip 95 MP4, and after watching it, honestly, I'm good with the other 94, to be honest. I wish I could explain to you guys what's going on in this video, but again, like the rest of them, I have no idea. That's why I included them. They're really baffling. It's a weirdly put together VHS tape, montage, whatever, that features some strange looking people in masks, a weird thing that maybe looks like a clock, and then a whole bunch of, it's just bad vibes, you know, Chris? Just bad vibes going on. It's just not the mood for us. I don't know what's going on, but I don't want to find out, again, like the rest. I don't know what's going on with the clock symbolism here either. It's very specific. I feel like I'm late watching this video. Like I have like the anxiety going on now. Number 2, the chair. Not to be confused with the WWE wrestling move, the chair. This is way less fun, this one. I grew up watching the big comfy couch. I love comfy couches and comfy chairs. I'll sit on both all day long. A rocking chair as an adult, I'll be asleep in minutes. I love this. Except for when it's haunted and it just rocks by itself. Then in that case, I don't want to buy that. No thank you. This is a video of exactly that. It's a chair that is said to have been purchased, used just a couple of days prior, and let me tell you, I hope they kept a receipt. My grandma had a rocking chair, and she said that it would move on its own from time to time. Isn't that terrifying? My grandma told me that when I was like 8. And finally, number 1, VHS for sale. This VHS tape was found at an estate sale that was being held in a barn. Now the person who uploaded this tape found them in 10 boxes that they had purchased, amongst, other things such as records, rusted tools, old paint cans, just borderline garbage, and they're like, ah yes, I'll paint it a different color and sell it for $1 more. And then, sure. This video shows somebody walking through some sort of mildly wooded area in the daytime, which, okay, yeah, fine, that's all great and dandy, but then it cuts to a night scene immediately, and that's when the uncomfortable feelings start to rise up. That's when I feel like I'm gonna throw up on my keyboard watching this video. I have absolutely no idea what the white thing being dragged is, but hey, guess what? I don't want to find out.